Other news, believe it or not, Democrats are actually trying to blame Republicans for the tragic events of yesterday, even after they themselves glorified months of violent rioting in cities all across the country. For example, Congresswoman Cori Bush is now calling for the expulsion of Republican lawmakers, claiming they, quote, incited this domestic terrorist attack. And meanwhile, Congresswoman Ocasio-Cortez is actually demanding Senators Cruz and Hawley resign from the U.S. Senate. Senator Cruz fired back, tweeting, quote, "You're a liar. Leading a debate in the Senate on ensuring election integrity is doing our jobs and is in no way responsible for the despicable terrorists who attacked the Capitol yesterday. And sorry, I ain't going anywhere." By the way, Simon & Schuster just apparently canceled Josh Hawley's book. Here with reaction, author of a best-selling book himself, Firebrand, appropriate title, Congressman Matt Gaetz, along with American Conservative Union Chairman Matt Schlapp. Before we get to the best-selling author, Matt, I figure I'd give you first crack at this.
Am I the best-selling author?
I don't know. Did you write Firebrand, or did that other guy there write it?
The other guy, the distinguished congressman. I'll go quickly so we can let the best-selling author talk. But look, I think that Democrats have to decide, and Joe Biden, they have to decide, do they want to unify and take down the heat, or do they want to impeach and cancel and attack? And that's what I think, that's why Joe Biden's words are just so deceptive. He acts like he wants to unify the country. If you want to unify the country, let the 73 million Americans who voted, over 73 million Americans who voted for Donald Trump, feel like their voices have been heard. Let's get to this inauguration, and then let's let the representatives and the senators they've elected to Congress, let's let them all do their job by advocating for the positions they feel. Instead, whether it's corporate America, which has increasingly become woke, or the other big voices on social media companies, etc. Instead, it's always this desire to shut down anybody who's a conservative, shut down anybody who is for the MAGA agenda. And this literally is going to make it very hard for this country to stay as a union, and it's a very troublesome thing.
Firebrand author Matt Gaetz.
Well, Sean, you got to at least respect the hustle of Congresswoman Cori Bush. I mean, the ink isn't even dry on her new member orientation packet yet, and we're already talking about her on Hannity. She beat Lacey Clay, who was a popular member of the Congressional Black Caucus, whose family had held that seat in Missouri for 50 years. But you've got to acknowledge the hypocrisy of the Democrats and the whiplash it sort of gives us. Just yesterday, they were telling us that we were seditious traitors and they were the vanguard of all democracy. And now today, you have a Democrat member of Congress saying that the elected representatives of 70 million Americans should be expelled from the chamber. Now, it doesn't much hurt my feelings. I've been expelled from the state of New Jersey already, but I don't exactly think it's like a best foot forward for the 117th Congress for the Democrat majority to not even want to debate us, but instead to want to expel us. You know what? Josh Hawley and Ted Cruz are patriots because they saw something was wrong. They said something about it. We made our objections, and now we all have an obligation to make sure that we run clean elections in the future, because it is still my belief that of the people who actually showed up and voted, among the people who actually had an identification tied to their ballot, Donald Trump won this election in a landslide, and it is a travesty that the institutions of our government did not hold and ensure that we preserved that victory. Now we've got to clean up this process, and Democrats trying to kick us out of Congress certainly isn't a step in the right direction.
Last word, Matt Schlapp. That's up to state legislatures, isn't it? They need to get working now.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And the thing is this, elections by the Constitution are governed by states. And what we saw with the judges in these states is they didn't have the courage to do their job. And it's now time for these Republican-led legislatures in states like Pennsylvania to stop going along with the Stacey Abrams crowd, change these laws, and make sure that you vote once and that you're registered to vote and that Americans can have respect in the election process once again.
And I want voter ID laws. You know, like if you go to the DNC convention.
Absolutely.
By the way, Matt, did you know Matt Gaetz wrote a best-selling book called Firebrand? Just saying, in case you didn't hear. All right, more Hannity right after this.
This is Congressman Matt Gaetz. If you like that video, make sure you like and subscribe to our YouTube channel, follow us on social media, and join us on our daily podcast, Hot Takes with Matt Gaetz, on your favorite podcast listening platform.